Three, two, one.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple, and this is your humble host, Hunter, here. I hope you guys are having a good start to your weekend. I'm recording this on Friday morning. I'm actually getting ready to catch a flight to San Diego, for my fantasy football weekend. But I wanted to give you guys a couple quick reviews of some stuff I saw here a couple days ago. So I'm reviewing real quick Where'd You Go, Bernadette, which was written and directed by Richard Linklater, who of course did Before Sunrise, which I remember seeing Before Sunrise. I'm pretty sure I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've seen it. And he also directed Boyhood, and I know that's a lot of people go, what? I watched Boyhood. I thought it was good, but I think Moonlight is basically what Boyhood was going for, but done way better. I just wasn't a huge fan of Boyhood. And to be honest, guys, it breaks my heart to say this, I wasn't a big fan of this at all, to be completely honest. There's some stuff I liked, but we'll get there. I think people do forget how good Cate Blanchett is. I mean, you think about, her being in Ocean's 8, which I really enjoyed Ocean's 8. I know some people weren't crazy about it. I loved her in The House with a Clock in Its Walls. I thought her and Jack Black's chemistry was wonderful. I loved her in Carol. I loved her in Truth. I love her in the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Loved her in Blue Jasmine. She really is one of my favorite actresses. I'm always so happy when I get to see her and stuff. And this is the first time I remember just thinking Cate Blanchett, as charming as she is, it almost felt like Michael B. Jordan in the Fantastic Four reboot they did years ago, where they basically said, hey, we're going to take all the charisma and your charm and the way that you just have this personality that makes people want to see you and talk to you. We're going to take all those things about you and we're going to suppress them and not let them show in any way, shape, or form. Because, and again, I don't think this is on Cate Blanchett. There are a couple moments here watching this movie I thought she was good, but overall I thought she was just, she was so selfish, and the movie only calls her on it but so much. This actually gave me more of an Eat, Pray, Love vibe, where at least with Eat, Pray, Love, basically it's about that character just being a total bitch and not actually having any problems and manufacturing them herself. Here, at least, with Bernadette Fox, Cate Blanchett's character, it seems like they're saying, hey, she's clinically depressed, and the movie does bring that notion up, but they don't really follow through on it. It just kind of seems like something she gets over one day by going back to working. And I think what's so frustrating about that is that this movie had a chance to actually make a statement about mental health. And I'll say too, just as doing the podcast for almost 5 years now, when I'm not creating, I do feel lost. I feel empty, to be quite honest. And they kind of go into that, but then it seems like it just goes away so quickly and it's dropped and not really fully developed. She ends up going on this trip to Antarctica. And actually, pardon me, I'm jumping ahead here. So, Cate Blanchett, Bernadette Fox, she's the mom. She used to be a former architect, which is probably some of the best stuff in the movie because they have flashbacks and interviews with people who used to work with her, including Lawrence Fishburne and Megan Mullally were both in this, which was always a great surprise to just see them. And that's some stuff that I wish we had gotten more of, because we learn more about Bernadette. We learn about the fact that she, got the MacArthur grant at such a young age, and that she's almost this prodigy, basically. As far as in the architectural community. And it was just kind of frustrating because I go, oh, you have something good that you could go ahead and develop, but you're just not. So she's she's the mom. Billy Crudup, who I've seen stuff. Spotlight's the first thing I thought of him in, but he plays her husband. He's kind of like I guess I'd say a nice Steve Jobs. Basically, he works for Google, I want to say, and he's developed this basically, like, it's like not like a microchip, but it's almost something you like put on your face. It's kind of like a headset, like kind of like a really small headset, and you just put it basically on your forehead, and you can think the thoughts, like think what you want your computer to type, and it does it for you. It's some Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock bullshit. That's all I was thinking when I saw it. I was like, I've seen how this ends, but he's a really smart tech guy, and if the movie does anything well, it does a good job of illustrating how I think it's Edgel, how you say his name. How Edgel and Bernadette, they used to be in love, and you can feel like some of that is still there, but Bernadette really started retreating back into herself after she stopped working. And Edgel, he's the golden boy, he's the poster child, he's running this company, this tech company, and he's retreated more into his work, and so they're just not talking. And again, normally I'd kind of go like, oh, I want to see you kids make up, but they're both so selfish. The way that he brings about this intervention for Bernadette is done in just the shittiest way. I mean, that he corners her, and it's really insensitive the way he does it. To be completely frank, and if there, and I'm trying to just find good things about this movie, because I didn't leave the theater angry, but I kind of just left going, well, all right, I'll never watch this again. Emma Nelson, I think this girl could be something. She plays B, who's their kid, and she does have some very those kind of classic teen moments with her dad, where she kind of talks down to him, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I mean, I couldn't do it to my mom. Couldn't do it to my mom now. And how the movie just kind of goes, yeah, she's sticking up for her mom, but she's doing it at the expense of her father, and it comes across very bratty, which I didn't like. But she is very smart. The movie does a good job of showing her natural charisma, as far as her being an actress, but showing that she'll be similar to her mom and maybe only get the good qualities, hopefully. So that kind of worked. But sitting back and watching this, I mean, there's a couple scenes. There's a scene with Bernadette and Audrey, who's played by Kristen Wiig, and you find out that they're in this town. I want to say it's Seattle. Forgive me, I'm just kind of blanking. But Bernadette is just not liked by anyone, even when she goes to drop B off at school. The parents are like talking shit about her. So it's a little cartoonish, because the movie does really hammer home the fact that Bernadette has no friends. And you kind of sit there, and at a point, just for who she is or used to be as far as an architect and being, at the top of her game, some would like her probably just from fanfare. It's a little unrealistic to say that everyone wouldn't like her in this town. That was a little odd and honestly a little hard to accept. But Audrey is just kind of a bitch. She's a worse version of Bernadette, honestly. And I think one of the frustrating things is that the movie tries to give Audrey this moral high ground, which she really doesn't earn. Bernadette and Audrey have a fight early on in the movie about, I want to say it's some this thing in her yard that she goes, basically, you need to take care of these thorns or these weeds or what have you. And Bernadette does what Audrey said. Now, Bernadette admittedly knew that this would, not work, but she goes ahead and does this thing that Audrey says, and basically there ends up being this not like a flash flood, but this wall breaks down, and all this mud flies in, and it's during this dinner party that Audrey is hosting, and it's a pretty brutal scene, and it leads to Audrey talking about Bernadette and saying some pretty mean shit to her. in front of B, and I think that's where the movie really started to lose me, because yes, Audrey has every right to be upset, but this is where she starts going, no one likes you, the parents are happy we don't show up for shit, and it got to a point where it got way too personal for, again, this woman who really has not earned the right to even talk down to her like that, let alone in front of her child. That was really dark, and yeah, it while the dialogue was interesting, the intended result of it, I just went, nah, I'm like, sorry, I'm not giving you this. And in the movie, it throws in just kind of random things, like that Bernadette has had 4 miscarriages. They just kind of throw that in from nowhere, and I went, whoa, okay, are we going to come back to that? They don't really come back to it. They address it once, and it never comes back. And it's frustrating. The thing you find out that broke Bernadette, she developed this one house, what's called, which is known in the movies, like the 20 by 20 is what they call it, because she used resources that were within a 20-mile radius of where she was building this home. And basically, she builds this immaculate house. And I will say, the cinematography in this movie was probably my favorite thing about it, because when Bernadette goes to Antarctica, yeah, when she goes to Antarctica, it's shot so well. It's like a Planet Earth kind of style documentary. It's like, wow, okay, so that was really well done. The cinematography, as far as just showing the architecture and how things were built, it gives you a really kind of inspirational feeling, not from Bernadette, but just from seeing how she's built some of these things. It's pretty cool to witness, and so, which is why it's even more frustrating that the story's not as good. But the 20 by 20 house, she ends up being destroyed and bought by this like billionaire who just destroys it for a parking structure. And it took her, I guess, 3 years to build. And that was kind of the thing that the movie wants to basically lead you to believe is what kind of broke her. But I don't know. The way the movie portrays it, it doesn't have the weight that it should have had. I think by showing Bernadette's maybe reaction, or just seeing more of her, because the story is told at points through other people's point of view, just going to flashbacks, I think, would have been a lot more effective as far as how that kind of broke Bernadette. And you don't really get any of that, which was frustrating. So I know it feels like I'm going to give this probably lower than what I'm going to give it. I went and saw this on a $5 movie Tuesday. I thought, for $5, I feel like it was okay, but I could have red boxed this and went, alright. I mean, I'll never watch this again. I was looking through some of the reviews on Amazon of the actual book, and one thing that the movie brings up is that Bernadette's husband is having an affair with his, like, someone who works in his office. I want to say it's like his, not his secretary, but she's, like, co-producing this project with him. And that's brought up, the fact that they could be having an affair, and then it's dropped. There's a lot of things where it's very start and stop. Bernadette and Audrey have that kind of rivalry going, and that's resolved, before we even get to the third act. B is kind of seen as the outcast at school, but they don't really dive into that. There's a lot of stuff here that I went, man, there's potential for more if they would just dig a little bit. The husband talking about the fact that he, that him and Bernadette just haven't been talking. He doesn't feel, artistically fulfilled in the relationship. That was something they could have explored. They don't really go there. And Judy Greer is in here, and I love Judy Greer. She plays the doctor who helps with the intervention. She plays Dr. Kurtz, and, I would like to see more Judy Greer too, but I always want to see more Judy Greer. But this felt like just a movie that was a really big missed opportunity, which is always the most frustrating thing. So, as far as a grade, I'm going to give this a C. Just because even a C plus seems too strong, to be honest. If I rented this on Amazon, I'd go, alright, well, that was fine. But if you can find this at Redbox when it comes out, that's fine. I mean, I'd probably buy this if it was like $5, just because, I could put on for the cinematography stuff and the flashback, the documentary style scenes. But overall, this was really disappointing, and the trailer had me excited, and I expect more from Cate Blanchett. So, yeah, disappointing, but average. So, C for me. But, guys, if you've read the book, please let me know. Is the book better? Just some of the reviews I'm reading, it doesn't seem like the book is much better, but please let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can go ahead and like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearmanthefirst. You can follow Colin on Twitter at TheReelOneal. And you can go ahead and find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and Stitcher Radio now at The Real Pineapple. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you'll be the first to know when our new reviews are up. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We will have reviews up this next weekend for It Chapter 2, and we'll have a review up as well for the first season of Dead to Me, season 1, which I am stoked to get into that. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We love all the support, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.